listening to the RM Podcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the Red Moon Podcast. That's right, we're coming to you live Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here every week on Facebook and YouTube. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Badger Coville.
that's right, we're coming to you in style tonight.
I have no idea what Brandon's doing.
We got all of our fine listeners out there coming to you in podcast land. That's right. You just sit back for the easy listening in the next hour. The best hour of your life every week here on the Red Moon Podcast.
Just like looking at myself in the camera, and I look like one of those like old men radio DJs that thinks they
He's
still
an
got
old
it.
man.
They're just like, yeah.
I was
He feels
Play that cheap
special.
trick.
That's right.
Play that.
He wants to listen to that hipster,
I want
dipster
you.
music.
I want me. You sound like Matt Damon in Stillwater.
He
That's
sounds like-
exactly what he
No,
sounds
he
like.
sounds like
alright.
Sling Blade.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Without the
Sling, no, in a sling blade.
All right, that
I
does kind
done killed
matches a little
somebody.
bit better. We just wanted to mix it up. It's about 5 minutes before the show, and
I mean, I had my. I never took mine off.
Yeah, you didn't take
And
yours
then they
off.
were like, "Let's wear them," and I was like,
Well, I didn't know
now
Sean
don't
had
want to,
his.
if it's
Sean
gonna
had
be-
his.
He had
Oh,
his
yeah,
on
they've
at
been on my head
Brian's.
the
and
whole
then he
time.
put them on, and then I was like, "Well, hell, I've got mine in the other room. We'll just throw it on. We'll have our little shade party."
You're just gonna
Yeah.
be some bros, a couple of d-bags hosting the show. No.
That's what we are
Those
every
are-
week.
That's Twitch comments. That's not our normal listeners.
Hey,
commenting.
that's what they're gonna get. They're gonna get that here a little bit.
That's the
on the Red Moon
12-year-olds playing
Podcast.
Call of Duty.
12-year-olds, they say, "Hey, let's play Call of Duty. You're gay."
Let's
That's
play
what they say- that's
Apex Legends or
That's a-
Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yeah, it's not Call of Duty anymore.
Yeah, no more.
Fortnite, Apex.
It's not Call of Duty ever.
Overwatch.
It's COD.
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 Yeah, gotta play that COD.
You get on that COD, man. We're gonna play that Vanguard. Pow, 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 pow.
That's exactly what they sound like, and that's when you know. Yes,
And then they
they
teabag
are a
you,
d-bag.
and they're like,
I
they
will say
laugh.
that was one thing Free Guy got right.
Yeah.
I mean that was pretty hilarious.
Yep.
It,
Oh,
it
yeah,
comes
was
from
good.
the
Free
dawn
Guy
of an
was- I-
old era.
I'm glad to be back. I missed the Free Guy conversation last week.
You did.
I much rather would have been able to talk about that movie.
You
than-
were out
than
with
the
the
one we're
COVID.
going to talk about today.
Didn't
Yeah,
have COVID.
I was out with the COVID.
You're gonna
but
scare our viewers.
I was
They're gonna
va-
think they can
listen,
get it through the.
I was vaccinated, so therefore COVID.
Facebook.
It was like, oh, well, you'll be sick for 2 days, and that was it. I don't know. I think it was allergies.
Well,
but
it just
I'm gonna
happened.
tell everybody it was COVID just because I want to now.
Same here, because the same thing happened to me the
That's
day
just
after
funny. The
the
two
show.
vaccinated people in the room got sick.
And so
I
far,
didn't.
You not
Yeah.
yet,
Not yet.
not yet.
I'm not getting sick.
I still can't taste or smell.
Oh
Okay.
man, yeah, that's the COVID right there.
That's the vid.
Could
I'm
be
just saying.
allergies. Actually, there's a lot of stuff going on right now because I mean, RSV, the respiratory virus, it's going around. Whooping
What is
cough.
that?
They're diseases.
I don't know what that is.
They've been around for a long, long
It
time.
doesn't exist in
Yeah.
the last year, though.
Yeah.
Nothing else other
I
than
would say
COVID
there's nothing
exists.
but
But
COVID.
yeah, those have been
People
going
don't
around
even get
too.
the flu
So
anymore.
you know we could have whooping cough. You could have RSV. You could
Is
have
it whooping or whoop?
whooping
whooping cough. The
It's
whooping
like
cough.
wheat thins.
Whooping.
Wheat thins.
Cool. Cool.
whip.
I'm sorry.
But no,
The Cool Whip
I
got
don't.
me.
Cool,
that-
Cool
That's
Whip.
right. You can't have anything but
Yeah,
COVID right now.
Yep.
That's the only thing going around.
No.
That's the only thing we're getting vaccines for. That's the only thing that matters right now to
Yeah,
save the
yeah.
world. Okay?
Yeah.
Get vaccinated. It matters. And if you don't, you'll die.
Well, if you don't get vaccinated, you're just you're an evil piece of crap.
That's pretty much it.
Still here.
No,
And
we're-
you're an evil piece of crap.
We'll see. I'll still be here in 5 years.
Me
And
too.
You might not be.
I
we
will
may
be.
not be. Could
might
be longer.
You might have two heads.
I may not
That's
be
okay,
here.
but
One
I'll
of them
be
might
here.
eat your other head.
10 years, I may not be here.
Mm. Nobody knows.
I may not be here in
You
15
might not be here in
years.
5 years.
I know.
Nobody knows.
I may not be here in 20 years.
Honestly, with the way
Jesus
the world
could
is,
come
I
back.
hope not.
You know, we could. Yeah.
I hope we
Hopefully
don't
the
have another 5
the
years.
rapture will happen.
I may not be here in 25 years.
No one cares
Well, if
about
the
you.
world ends in
May
5
not be
years,
here in
you
30
definitely
years.
won't be here in 30 years.
Well, the way it's going right now, I
That's what I'm
mean,
saying.
it's going to
The
hell.
world's
going
going
to
to end before we get the Avatar sequels. That's my prediction.
That
Could be a
might
good thing, though.
just be the one
You know,
sign
the Bible
of the end
says
times.
that God will only let it get so bad before He has to step in.
That's right.
And when Avatar gets ready to release, He'll be like,
He's
"This
like,
is
that's
enough.
it.
Oh,
That's
we
it.
can't
I'm
have
not
that.
letting this happen."
Sorry, JC, you've won 11 Oscars. That was a travesty in and of itself. No more.
Yep.
Can't have it.
He's the false JC.
Ooh.
James Cameron's the Antichrist.
Ooh.
right. He's the
Man.
desolation of
Dude, like how we
desecration.
like that lined up perfectly. That was beautiful. All right, we got a great show. A great show
I think
for
we have-
everybody.
We have an okay
tonight.
show. I don't know it's going to be great yet.
True,
I
you've already
mean,
gotten the
we
best
don't
out of us.
No.
The top of the show was the
No,
best we
I
could
think
do.
all of our shows have
Top
something to
notch.
offer.
Not all
Top
of them.
They have something to offer.
Well, yes, all of our shows do have something to offer. Just not all of them are great.
This one is.
It always is. The one that we're doing right now always is.
I don't really.
Let's
yeah,
roll
we
that
can-
review.
Oh,
yeah, let's
wait.
listen to our
Oh,
review tonight
we-
of a movie that
Okay, we're gonna listen to it.
here.
You
I
didn't
got
do
it.
one,
I
did
got
you?
it.
We are not
Here is
doing
our
a
review.
formal review.
Here is our review of Reminiscence.
by Keith Cheatham.
Eh,
Meh.
that was it. Meh.
Meh.
It's not as bad as
I'll tell
Justice
you,
League or Batman v Superman.
It's not
Don't
worth-
see it. It's bad.
it's not worth remembering.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
We don't have a formal review.
We don't have a formal review. We
Um,
do have a formal score. I'm gonna throw that
so-
up right now.
Oh, nice. Go ahead. Throw
2
that
out
up.
of 4 stars.
I disagree.
Oh, you're going
Oh.
lower?
Oh wow.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
I didn't think it
So,
was that bad.
I didn't write a review this week because I said screw Red Moon. I don't like you all. No. As Brandon noted last week, he did a nice little for my grandfather to pray. You know that he was in the hospital, and for those who don't know, he has departed this earth to be with our heavenly Father. So he
Mortal
is.
coil.
Yeah, he has passed. So a little bit of somberness right now. I mean, you know, I'm still here. I mean, obviously, like Sean came when his uncle. Like we still love Red Moon, and it's 9 o'clock at night. I mean, there's not anything I can really do for my. Like, I'm not trying to be callous, but
No,
No,
of course not.
no.
I'm happier being here with friends and
I was gonna
enjoying
say,
movie
yeah,
talk. And
That's exactly.
and
how
my
I feel.
grandfather would want me to be, you know, to not wallow in sadness and you know, depression. So.
Did he watch Red Moon?
I don't know if he was ever, you know, lucid enough to really do that
Okay.
during those last. I mean,
Well, no, not during the last, but
You
I mean,
know,
like
Just
ever.
he probably doesn't know who we are
he don't
as
he
Red
doesn't
Moon,
know who
and you know what? That's
you
okay
are.
because it's the only thing that is on in heaven
Um,
because God loves us.
Well, yeah,
You
24/7.
confusing heaven for hell.
Well, the way we
You
start
have
the
to watch
show,
this.
the way we start the show
Yeah,
in
in
red every
red,
week, it kind of probably mimics that closer.
But I did watch the movie. Brandon, he tried to get me not to come today either. He was like, "You don't have to come to this show," because he likes being solo now.
Sure.
Anytime
yeah.
he can try to
He
get
told
rid
me
of
I
it.
didn't have to come.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's like I didn't even have a death
Anymore,
in the family, and he's
we
like,
get-
"You don't have to come."
We get to Monday night, and I'm like, guys, don't show up tomorrow. It's okay. I'll handle the show.
I got this.
I'll take care of everything.
But yeah, we all watched it. There's just no formal review, and I think once you hear our opinions on it, you won't feel like that you're missing out on a formal review.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let me. I was gonna say, let me correct you, Keith. If this would have been, Black Widow, I would have made you.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Nah, I'm just
no,
kidding.
no, but I get it. I get it. Yeah.
No, it was definitely by.
It was one of those things where we were like, this movie doesn't really need a review.
Yeah,
It's-
after seeing it, I think the consensus between all of us was just it's not something that. Yes, normally on a typical
I
week
didn't
we
hate
would
it.
give you a review, but with everything going on, it was obviously something we could easily overlook and
Well, why
say,
don't-
"Well, let's talk about it."
Say, well, why don't we
Let's
get
give our
into the movie?
opinions, yeah.
It was the movie Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman. One
And
of his.
Vanessa Ferguson.
Yes,
Mm,
yes.
that was
Was it Vanessa or Rebecca?
Rebecca.
Rebecca. My bad.
Rebecca Ferguson.
I don't know where. Who's Vanessa Ferguson?
don't know.
Nobody.
She's
I feel like
nobody.
that's a person. I feel like I've heard that
I've
name
heard
before.
that
too.
name
There's a
before.
Vanessa Hudgens, but
No.
that's the.
No. We know who that is.
I know, but neither one of
Yeah.
them really. I'd be fine with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's all right, but Rebecca
But
Ferguson is.
continue.
Well, I was just, Louis, Reminiscence, Hugh Jackman. Basically, they have like the machine that lets you revisit, the past, and he's trying to find Rebecca Ferguson's character throughout the film. And I just, as
Sci-fi mystery thriller.
Hugh
Well, wait a minute,
Jackman's,
let's- just to clarify, they're not revisiting the past.
not like
they're
their
going
memories.
into their
Their
memories.
Yeah. I should.
It's almost
They're kind of
right.
like living their memories over.
I'm
Kinda like,
actually glad
honestly,
you said that,
it's
'cause
kind
it
of
is
like
yeah.
Assassin's Creed in the Animus, where they tap into.
But
like,
I feel like they're actually in the past.
True,
They can affect
that's,
the
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
that's
just.
true.
Yeah,
It kind of makes me think of Inception, only they're not trying to implant ideas. They're just going back and visiting like the memories in their minds and
Yeah.
stuff. And the whole thing, especially because in Inception you have Leonardo DiCaprio and his wife and all of that. And even though they're not the same plot at all, but still, it just gave me some of those vibes where I was just like, I'd rather watch Inception than this. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, Inception's.
I'd
far
rather watch
better
any
than
Christopher Nolan movie.
well,
than this.
yeah. And that's. I will say the one thing that I gave it credit for was I actually thought, you always see in the credits of the trailers, from the co-creator of this and that to
Right.
try to
Yeah.
spur
Well,
you.
Westworld was the big one.
Westworld was the big one in this, and from the co-creator. Of
Well, and
Westworld.
they also try to do kind of like the Homer parallels. Like he makes the whole like at the end about like the story of going back for the woman, only he succeeds. And I was like, I get what you're trying to be intellectual,
Yeah.
but you're not.
Well, but I will say, and as much as I couldn't stand, I guess, the direction in terms of the future that the story takes place in, that certain.
Well, everything's
Climate.
underwater because of global warming.
I was gonna say
it was because of George Bush.
they don't ever state that.
The levees broke.
Well,
Yeah.
I did think about that. I just, as soon as they said something about the
Katrina,
levees
man.
breaking, I
Yeah.
thought, man, if Kanye comes out and says George Bush don't care about black people, I
Right.
gotta see it. But no, I really thought the world building, even though I didn't necessarily agree with how it was built, was well done.
Yeah.
For a 2-hour film, and it's like an hour and 55
I
minutes.
can't even get through talking
You're
about the movie.
yawning.
I'm yawning.
It just put
Yeah.
you to sleep.
It's like
Yeah.
the movie bored me
I
so
thought
much.
it was 24 hours because that's how long it took me to watch it. I literally had to watch
I did
half
do
one
other
night and half
things
the other.
in between. Yeah,
Yes.
it was just as bad as Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. Only this movie's not 4
It
hours
was
long.
way shorter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of sad because
it
it's
just
like,
goes on and
I
on.
had to
and
take
on.
breaks in between Justice League because it was 4 hours long. I had to take breaks in
Yeah.
between this because it just.
Well, and that's where it ultimately failed was, apart from certain like key plot points that are, they're well constructed, but as far as getting from point A to point B, it's not very interesting. The action in the movie is not very well done. It's kind of lackluster. There's a couple of cool scenes that you would think could be done stylistically that I think, given the right director.
I just didn't even care about any of the people though.
No.
Like
Well,
Hugh Jackman, and I like Hugh Jackman. I mean, he's usually, that actor. I'm usually pretty intrigued by what movies he does.
True.
Because I like Prestige, Greatest Showman. Of course, everybody knows him for his stint as Wolverine, but just watching, like even Australia, which isn't a very particularly great movie, I prefer it over this. So
I like Australia.
yeah.
That's a good
So
movie.
never seen it.
it's Baz Luhrmann. So
Yeah, I remember it. I
It's
just
like
remember
an
it
epic
not.
love story.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
very good though.
And it's just
need
one
to
of those
check it
things
out.
where usually when I see Hugh Jackman's attached to something, I'm kind of interested because I do like most of his stuff.
Kate
But
and Leopold.
yeah, but
You've never seen that either, have you?
I've not.
I know
I
you
don't
have.
know. I've not seen.
I've
that.
not
That's
seen
Hugh
Kate
Jackman and Meg
Leopold.
Ryan.
I know. Yeah, I knew Meg Ryan was in
yeah.
it, but
That's
yeah.
like an old rom com.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
gosh, I thought it was just called Leopold.
Mm-mm.
It's called King Leopold.
Kate and Leopold.
Kate. I thought you
Yeah.
said King Leopold.
No,
Okay.
no, that's
Kate Leopold.
That's
Yes.
King Leopold, Shakespeare, I believe.
Yeah. No, King Lear.
King Lear.
King Lear.
Leopold,
Leopold was
is
never
not,
a king.
Yeah, he was.
Or-
that's-
And then you have Othello, and I do like Shakespeare.
Shakespeare's nice. I don't mind
Read
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare instead of watching this movie.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah.
It would not have bored
Yeah.
me
Yeah,
as much.
go back to the Renaissance, not the Reminiscence.
I
No.
think was Shakespeare the Renaissance?
I don't know.
I can't- I
just
don't
used
know.
a word that
Yeah.
sounded
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
this. I don't even know.
That was good. I was just trying to say that worked. That
No.
was good.
I did. I
correlation.
agree with you though. I liked the world building. I liked the
I like
idea
Rebecca
of the
Ferguson.
sunken city. I thought that was kind of
She
cool.
was the best.
The visuals were very good. I thought and I liked the attention to detail. I liked how they were. When the film first starts, it shows him kind of walking through the street, and there's like 6 inches of water in the street, and I'm like, you walk around and get your shoes wet all day? Like, what's up with that? And then they have like rubber shoe cover things on.
Yeah.
Like all of them do, and I'm like, okay, that's cool that they actually thought that through. other than their pants like getting wet and splashed all the time. I'm just like, that's a dank world to live
just
in.
sucks.
But you gotta
Yeah.
walk around it. But I mean,
That's
you
what's
know,
going to
that's
happen
what's gonna
if
happen.
we don't
Right.
fix climate change.
Yeah,
guys.
right.
The ice caps are gonna melt. I don't
And
know.
then the 1%'s going to own all the land.
Whatever.
That's
the-
right.
Yeah,
They're gonna have the dry land.
the barons.
Yeah,
that
the
was
barons.
just-
Yeah.
That just made me think of Into the Badlands, the Barons and stuff. Like
Yes.
that. I don't know. Have you seen that show, that AMC series?
No, I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
it was
though.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
No,
I liked it.
but
Overall, it was not.
no, there was a good line, or not. It wasn't a good line. It was a line about guns that I didn't think was very good. When
There was quite
he
a
takes
few
the
woke.
takes the gun away from
Yes.
the security guard, and he's like, "There's better ways you can do that than a bullet, or whatever." But
Okay, but
I'm
no.
just like-
I'm glad you brought that up because it was little through lines
Yeah.
that were set up specifically just to be woke, and I hate it because it's like it. This is what happens when you have movies. I mean, again, culture's downstream from politics, and culture sets the status quo for the day in the society.
Politics is downstream.
Or I'm
Culture,
sorry,
yeah.
yeah. But the thing is I hate movies like this, in which you have a decent story that could be told without those little
Without
nuances.
that angle, but they have
But they
to put
have
it
to
in there.
throw them in there
Yeah.
just to show you that they are woke. And again, nothing can escape it these days.
Well, nothing can
Every
be just for
single
entertainment
major
these
release.
days.
No.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Everything. Yeah, everything I've seen recently, even like, and granted, Marvel is much more tasteful about it, but even their recent stuff has had a few like jabs here and there that I'm just like, that's unnecessary. And because they really are, they're just these little like Jungle Cruise, which isn't Marvel, but it is
Yes.
Disney,
Yeah.
had a few, and I loved that movie. But at the same time, it's like they had these little jabs that is like that didn't add anything to the movie. The only reason it's in there is because you just had to make that statement.
you want to
Yep.
appease a certain political
Yeah.
crowd.
Yep.
And I hate when, for some people, they'll either, shrug it off and don't care. And that's mostly my reaction.
Yeah, they don't
You know,
notice.
But
Yeah.
and then there's others who don't notice, and it just kind of gets embedded, and that's what
Well,
they're
because
hoping.
they're so
and I just,
inundated with it, you're so
Yes.
used
Right.
to hearing it
Yeah.
that it's like, oh, yeah.
And that's part of the problem is I do want to bring things like that to light, especially on the show here, because we're one of those who are not only going to have a critical eye,
Oh yeah.
but especially when it comes to certain things that we don't necessarily agree with in a film.
we got a
we-
wokeometer.
You have to. You
Yeah.
have to. We need a just like our
We
just
need
like
the
our
water
freaking
scale.
our water scale
Yeah.
with Matt Damon.
Yeah, we need the wokeometer.
We need a wokeometer. How woke is this movie?
No.
We need to put it up.
What I hate is not only when they throw the little woke things in there, but when they can't decide if that's the way they want to go or not. And they,
Yeah.
in that same scene that I mentioned with the gun part, like he literally flips the gun around and hits the guy, and he's like, "There's better ways you can deal with this than a bullet." And then the very next line is his partner, the girl from Westworld, who says like, "Well, she used to use a gun all the time," and she said, "Yeah, but I used bullets to stay alive," or whatever.
Yeah,
And I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, so you're against guns and gun violence, but then
Well, that's like
and
well,
then and
that's
then,
like defund
but-
the police,
yeah.
but I want to pay for my own private security.
When she says it, Hugh Jackman looks at her and kind of smirks because he's like,
Well, again,
yeah, that's who she
they-
is.
But I was going to say they wanted to try to give you this kind of, I think, dichotomy between the two characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one.
I get it,
One is
but
kind of this peacekeeper.
which way do you want to go?
But I think she was using that to try to build a certain angle for those characters. But I think it falls flat because, yeah, again, when you don't give equal weight to an argument, you just
No.
make it seem illegitimate. You don't make
well,
it
they want to
seem
make
like
it
it's
seem
worthwhile
illegitimate.
to
They
tell.
want to because it's like, see, that argument's piss poor because it's not
Right.
guns are
There's
bad.
there is
Yeah.
no defense
Yeah.
for it.
Well,
Right.
those guns save his life later, though. So that's
Well, and again, they're not.
Hey,
yeah,
hey.
that's just for a cool,
Hey,
cool action scene,
Yeah.
in a movie. That's
Yeah.
all we're gonna have it for.
Yeah.
But and then there was just little pointed lines, of course. Yeah, again, the 1% getting everything, and how the world is flooded and climate change has affected everything. Just these little through lines that don't really
That-
need to be there. That only fill the story.
It builds the world, but it doesn't add anything to the story. Yeah, it's like I get like I mean I do like the whole world being underwater and the dichotomy of all that, but again, it's like then they put in the woke stuff that doesn't really add anything, and the whole premise of the story of him finding Rebecca Ferguson doesn't really rely on needing some of these things.
Well, the other thing that's just not scientific is they've already come out and showed you what the globe would look like if all of the ice melted, and the whole world would not be underwater. In fact, it's Florida, New York and California.
Well, that's primarily where
in the
they're at,
United
though.
States. I'm just saying.
I would say they're in Miami
it's
and
not
in
the whole world.
New Orleans in the
So,
movie.
I think
So
it's
all they got to
like,
do
would-
is
would
move
they
a little
s-
bit north,
they'll
and
say,
they'll be
yeah,
fine.
Would they stay, or would they just move more inland? I mean,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I didn't mind their reasoning behind it, though. I thought it was conceivable that they would build dams that obviously, because I
that
do.
don't work because they're still treading around in water.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see the water spilling
You
over.
do. but the dams, they even say the dams will break, and of course, there's obviously these parts of the city like that, are better than others. But I also like the fact that they did. It seemed as if, okay, the one thing we see in movies all the time, especially when it comes to global warming or climate changes, this happens overnight, and then all of a sudden everything is just underwater.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like the fact that they showed this. Okay, this is realistically over the course of time. As these changes took effect, people adapted, and that's where they built the dams, and they adapted to having boats that go throughout the city.
Yeah.
I thought that was at least, to me, that shows
A little bit,
foresight.
yeah.
A foresight. It shows, okay, we can kind of work this out and kind of go through this equation of, if this were to happen, this is believable. And I do like that in the sense that it at least adds a little bit of credibility to the world that they're living in, and it doesn't make it seem
I felt some of it was
just dropped
a
in
little
and, hey, believe this.
Yes, yeah, I felt some of it was just a little dystopian to be dystopian, and I mean, in a lot of ways, a lot of like apocalyptic and dystopian movies are. They never really give you a good reason for why things are like that. But at the same time, like the best ones, I feel like it's believable. Or even if they don't give you an excuse, you're like plopped right in the middle of it, like Mad Max, where like you don't really know why the world is dystopian.
Yeah.
But you don't need to.
But
'Cause that's not the point.
Yeah.
And I felt with this, it's like I felt like it was just halfway. It's like they want you to know why the world is this way, but they don't really give you like. I mean, they have some of like the boats in the city but there's other parts where I'm just like, the only reason they did this is because they just wanted to. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
it's the same old
agreed.
story that we live in a world that's so bad, everybody's depressed, and all they want to do is escape. So they go into a computer world or a memory. Where how many times have we seen that in a film?
Well, most of the time you're trying to escape the like Matrix. This world, it's like if you want to escape reality, that's okay. Live in the fake world, and it's like So now we're just being taught to avoid our problems rather than to try to solve them.
That's kind of what I had a problem with the end of the film.
Yes, the end.
And
That's
I don't
what
wanna
bothered me about the
spoil
end.
too much. Again, if you want to watch it, it's on HBO Max. But I thought, or you can go see it in theaters. Go support the theaters. But I ultimately thought too that by
You don't
the
want
end
pay
of
to
the
watch this
film,
movie.
it kind of leaves you again, kind of like the gun comment. You're given this little thread of, okay, here's where we're going to set you up. We have these two main characters, and they go in two separate different directions, but both are okay. Both are good, and they both have their pluses and minuses. And it's not that it didn't wrap up real well. It just, I thought it was a little jaded as to what conclusion they came to, and I just wasn't real happy with the outcome. I thought, this could have been, done a little bit better and a lot cleaner. And ultimately, it kind of sucks because, like you said, you kind of are left with this message of, well, nothing the real world can offer me anymore. I guess this is the existence that I'm going to have fleshed out for myself.
One of the things I didn't understand about the end, and maybe you all could kind of help me because sometimes you all pay way more attention to detail than I do. Of course, I struggled to get through this movie anyway. But at the end of the film, he chooses to live in the memory of her, which is only so long.
That was kind of my point about the whole,
does
like,
he just rewind and start over, or what? The memory is only so long.
Well,
he only knew her for like 2 or 3 years.
I think that was kind of what was, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but that was kind of what was set up with regard to
well, I know
how he stays in that state,
right,
and it's on repeat. So I think he
just
got more
repeats.
out of life knowing that he was with her.
Rather
through all those
than
memories.
again, that was my point that bugged me. Is like rather than face your problems or deal with
overcome.
situations, you just retreat to a fictional world and live. And it's like, I don't know. I know there's people that's like, well, what's wrong with that? If you're happy, and it's like, but
are you really alive?
Yeah.
So do you think he ever awakes and gets out of the tank? Or does he just lay in the water? Because if you lay in water for 24 hours, you're skin starts to fall off. So, I mean, like,
I don't
you
know if
can't
it
just
was.
lay
I don't
in-
think it was water. If it was like a certain solution. or-
Yeah.
Well, I
know.
mean,
I
whatever
get all
it
of
is,
the, all
you
of that's
couldn't
kind of abstract, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like
it's
you.
part of the
who-
sci-fi.
who-
He's
yeah.
in
who cut his
suspended
hair and
animation
trimmed his
forever.
beard in the water. Like, I want to know that stuff. Like, who was taking
Well,
care
those
of him?
those aren't
think she was
important
taking care of him?
details. They're just. You
I
know,
thought they were. I'm like,
know.
who trimmed
I-
his beard? His beard's underwater. How'd they trim it? Like,
you know.
I kind of wanted to know. Well, what's her name? Comes
They'll
to
find
her.
him in 20
Yeah.
years,
Did
and
she-
he'll just be this big hairy mass in
hairy
the water.
mass in the
Yeah.
water. It looks like a clog in the damn
My
drain.
thing is though, how do you
unplug this
But you go that far, it's like, I mean, does he have like nutrients and everything? Like
What's keeping
like,
him
Yeah,
alive?
you gotta
Yeah,
eat,
very
you gotta
good
drink.
point.
It's like you got like,
So I
He just goes in
wondered
with
if
a
he
feeding
wakes up
tube and
just
an
goes
IV
right
and-
back
Guys,
in or what?
guys.
yeah.
He has become a memory. Okay, at that point.
Oh man,
That's like a
He's-
rival. That's like
No.
you're getting deep now.
yeah.
You're
Just
in the
saying.
stew now.
He's just becoming a memory.
He's nothing.
That's all it is.
You just see his body like just degrade into the liquid, and he is part of the memory forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay.
2 out of 4 stars for Reminiscence.
I still say that whoever designed the film should have come up with something better than like the bed of water, because every time he's in it, I just think Wolverine. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like
He's gonna.
yeah, and I'm
well,
just
I mean, even like I will say, like even the again going to Interstellar or something Nolan did.
Yeah.
It's like the tanks where when they're going to go on this huge journey across the galaxy.
yeah,
And they have to sleep for like 9 months or whatever, and they get into that tank with the water, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that at least kind of gave you the impression that they had a solution or they had something that was going to be keeping their
Well,
body alive
most
and in
sci-fi
stasis.
films like they have like some type of stasis where they sleep.
Right.
Until, like
Yeah.
Aliens had it too. Like,
but again, it was
Like
like
freeze you, kind of.
yeah.
it was actually developed well enough that you don't think of something else. So I
Yeah.
agree. It was like this one was too simple to the point where I thought it just looked like everything else had been done before.
Yeah.
Now I thought the way in which I will say I thought the way in which it was filmed and intertwining cuts between the memories and real life,
Mhm.
I thought that was well done. I thought
So
the editing was done.
good? Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a boring movie. I'll never watch again.
there you go.
Agreed.
All right. Not worth remembering. There you go.
Mm.
2 out of 4
Reminiscence.
stars for Reminiscence. All right, guys.
For me, you all didn't.
I
share
gave it
yours.
2.5.
1.5.
Okay.
There you go. So I thought it was
So-
slightly better. I thought it was decent.
Sean thought it was slightly worse. And,
I
you
thought
know,
I would recommend it to people to watch once.
I wouldn't.
I mean, some
Maybe-
people
I
like
mean,
boring movies.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you, I don't know, I just got nothing better to do, and you really like Hugh Jackman, then yeah.
I mean,
It's
who
literally,
doesn't?
I watched an hour of it and
Hey,
then
hey,
started
hey.
playing PlayStation.
We-
I was just like, I'm just gonna play Days Gone because this movie is stupid.
I'd rather live in that reality.
Yeah. I just shot zombies and then I picked it up the next night.
Rebecca
finished it.
Ferguson is a reason to watch this. Film.
That's true.
It is, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
She's
But
a
you can
reason.
see her and Hugh Jackman in The Greatest
Greatest
Showman,
Showman.
which is a way better movie.
Way better movie.
She in that?
Yeah,
Oh,
we've had this
She's-
conversation.
I
before.
know. I always forget. I think of her in was it Mission Impossible with
Yes.
Tom Cruise?
Yes.
That's yeah.
Yes.
First time I remember seeing. it.
Yummy.
Alrighty, guys, let's cut to yes. It is time to roll into the headlines for this week. Let's roll that big beautiful open. We're done.
You sure?
We're done. Oh, we could have done it in our like cool Blues Brothers voice.
You can't handle the truth.
Oh,
That was good.
he can't handle the truth.
Sean can't. Every single week we do this. He can't handle it. He got to take off his.
Oh, we're going to talk about some truth here.
Oh, we are. Well, he gets all that phlegm up from his
Got to
COVID.
cough my COVID up.
Got that COVID on them lungs.
It's kind of, I don't want to say a bleak week, but it is a heavy topic week. Like
It
it's,
is.
It's there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and it all sucks.
We were actually, it was like 10 minutes before the show. We're sitting in my office.
It's like crap movie and
And
then
we were
all
like,
this stuff.
man,
yeah.
there's just like, the world has gone to hell in a handbasket in the last 6 months. You thought 2020 was bad
Yeah.
with COVID.
Yeah.
At least we knew to a degree what we were up against after 4 months.
Yep.
I mean, now we're just like, who knows what's coming next?
Nobody.
Like, COVID's not defeated. The Taliban is running
right.
rampant in the Middle East.
2021 said, "Hold my beer."
Well, what was the meme at the beginning of the year was 2021? Like, WON,
Oh.
Yeah, well,
Like-
that's not true.
but 2020 had one.
Yeah.
So now we're just living in it forever. We're in. Maybe that reminiscence machine is
Confusing
looking a
as
lot
hell
better.
right there.
Alrighty, guys. Shut up. Shut up. It wasn't that bad. So what is our first headline, Keith? Do you know what it is?
Well, are we going in order? Because if it's
Yeah.
in order, it's ScarJo.
There it
It's
is.
still heating up.
It's-
Disney's been throwing words, and she's come back and thrown some words.
She said, "You all are men. You're
Yeah,
misogynistic."
She did. That was a little childish of her on her part. I mean, I
It
still
wasn't really her.
No,
It was her
it's-
lawyers.
That's the thing. I shouldn't attribute it to her because her lawyer has been the one going back and forth with Disney. Disney makes
Well, he wants
statements
money.
and- well, yeah, no, that's his
And
job.
granted, she
It's-
did hire him.
I'm
So
saying,
it's like
it's-
she
it's
knows
his-
what her lawyer's doing.
It's his job to do this. I mean, he obviously has to come back against Disney because they're basically been trying to slander her to make it look like, well, this is all her fault and we didn't do anything wrong. So he has to come back. And that one,
Check your sunglasses off?
No, he's got
Oh,
him on.
okay.
no.
I was just making sure.
So yeah, the misogyny thing, I was like, no, I don't agree with that one. I don't think Disney did this because they're being misogynistic. I do think they're greedy a-holes that tried to shortcut her on the contract.
Is it misogynistic or misogynistic?
I think it's tomato,
It's like tomato,
but
tomato, yeah.
misogynistic is how I've heard it.
Yeah,
pronounced. But
I'm just
either
I
way.
haven't heard that word until 2019, so
Yeah.
that's the first time I ever heard it.
Misogyny.
the hashtag
Misogynistic.
me too and Time's Up movement's not doing too well out there either. 'cause
Yeah.
got some higher ups there that
So,
are part of that
I
movement.
was just like,
that
in this
didn't oust
regard,
Cuomo.
I don't think Disney's cheating her because they're a bunch of white men and she's a woman. I do think they're cheating her because they're greedy a-holes.
Well, I
So-
think this was telling because
Well, that's white men.
that's true.
true, but
White
you know,
privileged assholes.
one does not automatically correlate to the other, no matter how hard the media and other parties try to act like it does.
Well, it's funny because Disney, I think, is just doing a typical ploy here in this situation where it's already blown, the public eye.
Oh, yeah,
it's already been out in
it's
the public for the last couple
huge.
weeks, but it's huge, very bigly.
They
This is a very bigly lawsuit. But no, I think that Disney is now trying to go the opposite route because the whole lid has been blown off, and they're trying to quietly say, well, let's arbitrate this in in private.
It is. They did move for it to go to arbitration. They basically just want to pay her off and be done with it.
Yeah,
which,
they're hoping that through arbitration they can get to a settlement that'll be nice, and that's where her lawyer came out and said, "Well, now you're just being misogynistic because we have proof of that." And now here's the thing. Okay, I kind of am a little intrigued. I got to admit, I'm a little intrigued based off what the lawyer wrote to Disney. I do want to read it here. This is from Screen Rant.
yeah, go ahead.
And just real quick, what the lawyer responded to after Disney made the official said, after initially responding to this litigation with the misogynistic attack against Scarlett Johansson, Disney is now predictably trying to hide its misconduct in a confidential arbitration. Why is Disney so afraid of litigating this case in public? Because it knows that Marvel's promises to give Black Widow a typical theatrical release like its other films, had everything to do with guaranteeing that Disney wouldn't cannibalize box office receipts in order to boost Disney Plus subscriptions. Yet that is exactly what happened, and we look forward to presenting this overwhelming evidence that proves it. Now, here's the thing.
Well, I was
in
gonna
that
say-
whole entire statement, they don't refute anything that's misogynistic, though.
No.
Yeah.
They're just saying the process of going to arbitration, confidential arbitration, is misogynistic.
Which is stupid. I do agree that I think Disney knows they broke contract, which is why they want to go to arbitration, because they know that the ball's not in their court. And I did want to bring up another thing, because as the contract was with Marvel, and a lot of people have wondered about that too, because Kevin Feige's mostly stayed out of it, though he has kind of thrown his support behind ScarJo in not so many words. A lot of people are like, well, why is Marvel not being sued? Why is Disney? And the whole point of this was they said directly, as you mentioned right there, that ScarJo's contract with Marvel was for the theatrical release only, and they felt that it wasn't Marvel that broke contract, it was Disney in the attempt to boost Disney Plus's subscription numbers.
Yeah.
Disney forced Marvel's hand in, because Marvel doesn't decide whether its movies go to theaters or not.
It's not ultimately in
Yeah.
charge of distribution.
Disney's the one that decides how the movie's going to be distributed. So, therefore, the lawsuit's against the bigger corporation of Disney itself, because Disney's the one that forced the contract being broken. So
And I completely that's the thing. I mean, so much of that or that statement from her lawyer I thought was spot on.
yeah,
I thought,
it is. It's not
okay,
misogynistic anyway, but yes,
exactly.
it is 100% true.
And I think that what they're trying to claim by saying it is that we have this evidence that it is misogynistic.
he used a hot phrase.
Well, yeah, he says after initially responding to the litigation with a misogynistic attack, he's not telling us what the misogynistic attack was.
Well, that was
Well, they're claiming the whole lawsuit is.
Yeah.
The whole lawsuit is the fact that Disney is misogynistic because they specifically picked Black Widow to boost their
Well, he
streaming
said that-
sales, but ultimately it's because it's a female-led film that shows their misogynistic behavior. And then all I'm saying is, if you go on that logic, that's really hard to prove.
Yeah.
That's a lot of insinuating some subjective, nature of
well,
subconscious.
because none of the
that I
other
don't think they
Marvel
have
movies
proof
are
of.
going to Disney, but also part of that I feel like is also because of the lawsuit. Because there was talks about maybe Shang-Chi going Disney Plus, but now it's doing the 45-day window then to Disney Plus. Because there was some heat there where Disney's CEO said it's an interesting experiment, and he pissed off. I think it's Sam Liu. I forget. I don't want to butcher the name, but the main actor of Shang-Chi actually posted a tweet saying, "We're not an experiment. We're an underdog, and I believe people will go to the theater to see us." Like he kind of had a thing like, "How dare you say we're just this cool experiment?"
yeah.
So it's just like,
And that's the thing. But and it is. That's the problem. Like again, and so much that I have a problem. I am all for Scarlett Johansson fighting this tooth and nail to make sure that she's recognized
was
for
cheated,
her
so
credit.
yeah.
Exactly, for the money that she has on the table because they didn't go just to box office or to the theaters. But I have a problem where you throw out these slanders.
Yes.
Because to me, your lawsuit doesn't look good when you throw out slanders instead of proof. If your proof is in the pudding and you can produce now, not only in arbitration, but even after arbitration, because I guarantee you there's going to be some non-disclosures in that arbitration that say, hey, after this is settled, guess what?
You don't talk about
can't,
it no
can't
more.
mention this anymore.
Yep.
And here's the thing. They want this to be outed in public. And I say if Disney now knows their attitude towards this, then let it be out in public.
Yeah.
But Disney doesn't want any kind of bad press.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but they know how the social and cultural background of this works these days. And
Well, I
all
think
they
that's why
have to
he
do is
threw-
level these attacks and get them out there and get these buzzwords out in the public to know that, oh, well, Disney is screwing Scarlett Johansson over because she's a woman.
Well, that's
how
what I'm
do you
saying.
prove that?
Well, I don't
Yeah.
think this lawsuit is trying to prove it was the lawsuit is just about the breach of contract. He's using the hot phrase because he knows it is a hot phrase. It's like when they go to court, he's not going to be like, well, they did it because they're
But
misogynistic.
he says in his very statement there that they look forward to proving that they did as much because she's a
Well, I
woman.
didn't. I mean, I didn't get that
I
from
don't
that
get that
statement.
either.
I did.
I
think
didn't at
the
all. I
proof
think he
that
just
they're
said
going to show
the
is that
misogynist-
Disney did it specifically to boost Disney
Disney
Plus
Plus,
subscription.
yes.
Then why even call it a misogynistic
Well, because
attack?
Again, he's
'cause-
using the hot phrase like
to
you said.
gain more attention.
Yes.
But I'm sorry, but
because
the things
it-
he's saying in public hold water in court, and you're hurting your case if this then
Well, I don't
becomes
think
an
the court's,
exhibit.
because he'll never say, because the court's not going to look at that and be like, well, you said
They
this in
can
public
if
as far
Disney
as-
pulls it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they can, but
All
he-
they could do is
but
just
as
say,
long as
if
that's not
Disney
par-
just goes into court and says this is slanderous,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're being slanderous because they're calling
That's
us
true. They can't
misogynistic,
just like he called us
then-
misogynistic. That's slanderous.
Yeah.
They could pull that card, but I really think it was just him saying like if we trying to get the public on their side because he
Right.
knows already Disney's like,
Yeah.
well, she was being greedy. She made $20 million, and a lot of people turned on her.
I hate to say it, but we
So-
do live in a time where when you throw words like that around, especially when a female is
Well,
involved,
and
you're-
again,
it
goes
is
from-
going to go further.
It goes from her being greedy in some
I
public
agree.
opinion
Yes,
to
now she's a
well,
victim.
she's not a greedy. They were being misogynistic.
Yeah.
But, and I agree in the court of public opinion. The problem is if Disney is not a stupid. They're a huge multi-billion corporation for a reason, and the reason is they have tons of litigators that will litigate this tooth and nail. And if they want to go to arbitration, they'll find a way to push it that way.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they want to push for some public trial is because they do want certain things to come out about Disney, so they can be proven guilty in that court of public opinion.
Yeah.
And if they get that, then they know they have a better chance of this working towards a better involvement with people having more power.
Well, absolutely.
with their words.
It
I mean,
works
look,
in Disney's favor to go to arbitration.
hell,
and,
it just
and
helped with
ScarJo's
Emma
lawyer
Stone
knows
getting
that.
another deal with Cruella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like she used this very argument to boost her signing wage for the next Cruella film
Yeah,
because
Disney's,
of this
Disney's
very
as corrupt as any other corporation or business out there. And it's just it has that name that people have associated with wholesomeness and morals and values, and that's bullcrap.
Well, when it comes down
We've
to it,
seen that more of late, but I mean,
I'm not saying they're not crooked, but
Yeah.
I don't want to say this instance makes them crooked.
No.
I think big business is
Builds up
crooked
over
in
time.
general.
I
Because
think they
but
know
here's the
when
thing,
they
but
can get
they're also
away
yeah,
with
they're
stuff, they're going to try
businesses.
to. Yeah, if they think they can get away with this and pocket more money, then they're going to try to
Of
do it.
course, they're going to plead ignorance all they can, and they're going to try to fight everything they can that says, "Oh, hey, you didn't do this legally," and anything they can fight to a certain point to keep them from having to pay out millions of dollars, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And of course, they'd love to do it behind closed doors because they don't want it to be out
Yeah.
in public. But and I understand where her lawyer's coming at it from that. I just think he's on very thin ice with regards to this is something that, yeah, while people are behind her in the public eye, this gets drawn out over the next few years.
Well, yeah, it's not
regardless
gonna
of
be-
how this affects the next Marvel film that she may or may not be in, or how other people.
Oh, if they dropped her, then that would be a huge thing. If
Well,
they dropped her
technically,
from
she's not signed on to anything.
Well, I understand,
She
but
has
if she
no- yeah,
was,
she's
and
currently-
they were to drop her because of this,
Yeah.
that would be huge.
and
Yeah.
I don't think they would.
No, oh no.
But again, if you have Emma Stone,
if she said she
if you
supported
have-
Donald Trump, they would drop her.
well,
Like Gina Carano.
but then they
But
would
I'm
be
just
okay
saying,
with that. That
yeah,
would be
yeah,
okay.
No, I'm just saying they're not going to do anything with her that would signal
Yeah.
that they are getting rid of her because of.
But I mean,
No,
this.
with,
no
with
way.
her, she has no contracts right now. She's basically done with Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, could they have brought her back? Maybe if they wanted to, but at this point,
Why? They
probably
it's a
won't.
not. Yeah.
I mean, her character's dead. Why?
Well,
well,
nobody's ever dead in comics.
I guess so.
that's true.
I mean, I do think it's.
The-
I see the guy from Shang-Chi, or how do you say it?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Is
Yeah.
it
Like,
Shang-Chi
I,
or
Shang-
Shang?
yeah,
I mean,
Shang-Chi, yeah.
they're not going to experiment with a movie like Eternals.
Okay,
That's
okay.
not a movie that's ever going to not see the full theatrical.
I have a
release.
problem
Or
with that
Spider-Man,
phrasing,
because
though.
Spider-Man says, only in theaters on the trailer.
Yes.
Because like, those big ones.
Those big ones
Those
do.
are, but
and that-
but that's what I hate about his phrasing is he calls it experimenting, and I'm like, you're not a normal household name yet. When you become a
well,
household
no,
name,
not him. The Disney CEO said it was an experiment.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But he is an experiment.
Yeah.
The problem is the angle that the actor is putting on that phrasing, trying to say it's somehow slighted against him or their movie.
Well, the
because
movie,
it's,
not
it's
necessarily-
primarily
yeah,
an
yeah.
Asian cast, is what he's going to say.
That's what he went.
I'm sorry,
the angle he
that's-
was going for. I think
Oh,
he got.
did he go that way?
I think he got offended because he was acting like the CEO said it was an experiment because it's an Asian film.
Oh, no,
Whereas
no.
the CEO was saying it was an experiment because they're doing the 45-day window, then to Disney Plus.
I take it as your movie's not as important as Eternals, so we're gonna
Exactly.
jabber jab around with yours because we don't care.
Yeah.
you're
Well,
just
because
a
you
fill in the
don't-
blank spot for a
Exactly.
movie until the Eternals come out.
And that's my problem. Is I think in all of this,
And that's
you,
what
you get caught
Black
up in
Widow
the
was, too.
semantics, but you also get caught up in the social and cultural battle that these actors and actresses are trying to lump in and accuse Disney of. And I'm like,
No,
you
I
can,
don't go
you
for
can
that.
slander them all you want
No.
in public and try to accuse them, but you're the one that's walking away with multi-million-dollar contracts on some of these films, or they're the reason you're even a star to begin with. And then it's easy to bite the hand that feeds and call them dirty names, only to go on and then make more movies with them,
Yeah.
or for them to launch your career.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the reason why Spider-Man is only going to be in theaters is because
it's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. yeah. Who
It's-
knows who
come on.
Shang-Chi is? It's
Yeah.
like that's not Iron Man.
No.
It's like, yeah, your movie. I mean, I
Now,
understand
after
that.
this movie,
if
it
you're in
may
that
be.
movie, obviously you feel, if you had anything to do with producing it or making it,
Absolutely.
yeah, you feel like, okay, you don't think enough of our movie to give it the full thing, but it's like, I mean, in reality, it's no different than with Star Wars. I mean, Rogue One was just a fill in the blank movie. It's great, by
Yeah.
the way, but it was meant to just be a fill in the blank until the next thing. So was Solo. It's like they do this. Black Widow was this 100%. This was not a movie that was ever going to be as big as Avengers. But it was just it's I'm not saying they made it just to fill a spot, but they definitely slated it and used it to be filler until the next big thing came out. And they're not going to play around with Eternals like
No.
they play around
Or
with this
Spider-Man,
movie.
Or Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man, yeah.
And I
And
honestly
that
have
sucks, but
at the end of the day, it comes down to business, and Disney is in the money-making business,
yeah.
like anybody is.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you're not making the money you expect to make off a certain property, then you're not going to give it the love that it deserves. Where I think Scarlett Johansson has a valid argument here is, again, that her entire deal was bent around, or was was warped around the idea that you were going to get a full theatrical release, and there were subsidies that were coming back to you as part of a deal that you had made with the initial release.
Part of
Breach
it
of
was
contract.
She
is
didn't.
what it
She
is.
didn't want to
Exactly.
make the movie if it was supposed to be a Disney Plus movie. She wanted a theatrical film because most Marvel deals are based like actors get a chunk of the profits, so that's how they make their money.
Right.
So the fact that they did put it on Disney Plus, she was like, "That's a breach of contract."
And I just think that you're going to have, I think, much more, longer success with those kind of arguments and with lawyers pushing those kind of lawsuits than you are with the mudslinging of, well, you're being misogynistic or they're racist or.
Well,
I
there's
think that-
always some mudslinging
There- of
involved.
course,
if
yeah,
Disney
that's
would have
true.
came out and said like
They
we
called
didn't
her
feel-
greedy, so I mean,
well,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Which is
I was just.
mudslinging.
I
Well,
was
they
gonna
didn't.
say,
They didn't call her greedy because she's a woman.
No,
they
no,
just called her
no.
greedy.
But
That's
because
still,
exact- that's
still
exactly
calling
right.
someone greedy could be slanderous as well because
True.
you're
Yeah.
saying that she's doing this only because she wants
Exactly.
more money
Yeah.
when she's saying she's doing this because you cheated her.
If they would have
so-
came out and said like nobody cares about your film because it's about a female side character,
Yeah.
then that's misogynistic. Yes,
Yeah.
I will give it that. But we don't have any evidence that they said anything like that.
Right. Well,
I
and
do
that's-
think it's very unprofessional
and that's
for a
kinda
lawyer
what
to be
I-
making a response
Yeah.
like that.
I feel like they alluded to in that response
Yeah.
that they gave. And to me, I'm like, okay, now I do want to see it go to court because I do want to see
wanna
if
see
that's
this
brought
proof.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's this overwhelming evidence?
Yep.
You know?
Alrighty, guys, let's move on to our
Yep.
next headline topic this
Which
week.
is not any more fun than this one.
It's not. Do you want to introduce it there, Keith?
I introduced the last one.
You did. Sean, why
did.
don't you introduce this one? Do you know what it is?
The AMC.
Yep.
Stocks.
Yeah.
They got a boost.
So yes, the headline is AMC Entertainment exhibition stocks jump as the COVID vaccine gets the full FDA approval.
Well, the Pfizer. Not all of them.
True.
Not yet. But isn't this funny that
They all will.
They will.
didn't
yeah.
they magically now we get the Visine or the vaccine, Pfizer vaccine is
FDA approved.
FDA
and then
approved.
AMC stocks
Huh.
go up.
Yeah.
And all these entertainment stocks go through the roost. You got Cinemark on in that list.
Well, they
And
assume
you got IMAX in
they,
that
they,
list?
they say the reason is because they assume that with it being approved, more people will go get the vaccine because they'll feel safer about it. But I don't.
But what's that have to do with their stock? They're hoping more people
Because
will go
more
to the
people,
theater.
well, more people
That's
go
exactly
because
right.
if more people are vaccinated, they think more people will go to the theater,
And that they're gonna
But
be
I don't.
out.
I think people are discounting. Like, I'm not saying that some small portion of that's not true. I do think there is a small portion of people who will be more willing to go get it now that it's approved. And the more people vaccinated, I do think there is a portion of society that are more willing to go out when they know more people are vaccinated. But there's just as many people, I think, that have the opposite opinion that they're not sure of the vaccine, and just because the FDA approved it, they're still. I mean, the
doesn't
FDA is a
change-
joke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't change my
exactly.
mind.
Not to be like, I mean, trust.
is.
Like, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I got the vaccine. I trust it's safe, but that doesn't mean that I think the FDA is just because the FDA approved it. It's like whoop-de-doo. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
and I just
like
find
one
it-
of
I
the
find it
people we
kinda
know on
odd.
Facebook put FDA also approved bad beef. So I mean,
Yes. Yeah. But I think it's also funny that the FDA. It's funny that it's coming at a time when we need their approval
Yes.
to somehow push the safety of the
It's
vaccine
kinda like, oh, we'll
to
approve
the
it. It's
normal
like,
Joe
well-
Schmoes. And I'm like, anybody who is not getting it at this point is already safely in the category where I think they'll willingly say, I don't care what the hell the
Yeah.
FDA says.
No.
Why the hell? Why should it matter?
people who've
Yep.
gotten the vaccine that wanted the vaccine already had it. People who don't want the vaccine and don't trust it still aren't going to trust it. It has not like the FDA is like, what are they going to do? What were they going to do? At some point, they were eventually going to approve it. Are they going to like we saw online? Certain commenters have said it's like, what are they going to do? Pull the vaccine out of our arms now that we got it? It's like
Yeah.
if the FDA came out and said, well, we're not approving, it's not safe. It's like, well, you already vaccinated half. It's like, well,
Exactly, half the population
You
in the
experimented on
US.
half the
It's
population.
like you are 60% of the people already got
Yeah.
it. So you think the FDA is going to be like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that now? No.
It's like,
Yep.
well, they're screwed. It actually would have been a funny troll moment if the
It would have
FDA
been funny
said,
if they was
we
like-
are not approving the Pfizer vaccine. I mean, talk about chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been chaotic.
Yeah.
But no, I
you have
do.
to remember, it's the federal
Yeah.
food,
Yep.
drug
Food,
and-
food and drug
Food and
administration. It's food and drug. Yeah.
But they are part of the federal government, so they can, definitely, the government's going to get that approval. Like, they want people to get it. They're going to get the FDA to
and
approve
I think
it.
that's the bigger story here is, these stock prices are jumping, and I think in hopes of what the approval will do. But like stocks do every time there's some news about, I mean, hell, I guarantee you, oil prices probably have been fluctuating like crazy. Well, obviously since the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
but also since everything that's happened in the Middle East. But but it,
We haven't gotten to that article yet.
no, we haven't talked about that yet. But no, I do think it's funny that the stocks are going to level out, because what ends up happening over time is you get the real result of what the initial hype is and why these stock prices rise. And yeah, it's good news for the theaters. I'm sure AMC and Cinemark love to see this, but I think this also, in their minds, oh, she's giving you some love.
Oh, wow.
Keith. Look at her.
Wow.
She just Edie.
She
Oh,
said-
she wants to be on the show
Yeah, she
so
does.
bad. Edie,
She's on
stop.
there.
Get down. Gosh, sorry.
She wanted to join the
Sorry,
show.
man. She just jumped up there.
She said,
I'm
"Hey."
Sorry, got in the middle of the.
She was, yeah.
Oh,
It's
there's no
empty.
water in that.
That one's
okay.
empty.
Yeah.
But no, I think that you're going to see these stock prices level out. But this is also, I think, fueling the fire that a lot of the NATO, National Association of Theater Owners, a lot of them want to see, which is, because of this approval, are we now going to see mandates from large theater chains or theaters in general
there's
to
been
say,
some theater
because,
owners that have said that they've considered,
because of the approval, can we now mandate this?
we mandate it, and you can't come see a movie unless you've been vaccinated.
Which
Can
I
you
think
not
is-
live your life, go to the grocery store. You just have to sit
I
in your house
know.
and die if you've not been
Well,
vaccinated.
That's
Sean,
exactly what they want.
You were
Yeah.
even saying this with Chase Bank, a huge bank in America that's talking about not giving people new accounts
Unless
unless
they've
they
been
show their
vaccinated.
vaccination
Yeah.
card.
And that's
this is
as crooked
absolutely
as it-
absurd.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is insane. I mean,
You're not allowed. You're
institutions-
not free to live unless you've been vaccinated.
This is where, again, the overreaching hand of any kind of big brother, whether it's government, but especially when it comes from corporations that feel the need to somehow insinuate some life practice on you. This is a problem where you become such a big part. And we've done this as consumers. We have consumed to such a great deal that we are allowing to
Well,
not
we've
give
given
up.
them
We've
power.
paved
give-
the way for them
exactly.
to do this.
We've given Amazon, Walmart, Disney, all these huge mega corporations.
Apple,
Apple,
Google,
yeah.
all of them, because when
Facebook.
when they start to have
We'll
this
just
kind
keep
of
naming them for the rest of the
influence
show.
on our lives, it's like you have this certain type of influence now to where if you don't do what we say, then we will take you this service away from you, and it becomes a huge moral conviction that you have to give up any certain kind of freedom.
It's a test.
I
I mean,
know-
it really
I-
is. It's testing. I can tell you it's testing me, because there's things that I see that are going to be taken away from me, conveniences mostly so far, that it's like, am I willing to go back on what I feel about this vaccine and not wanting to get it? I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've had the flu shot, but I just don't trust this one. It's testing me, because there's things. It's, again, if they throw money at you, are you going to take it? If they give you a lottery ticket, are you going to take it? That's what they did. People getting free beer.
I know, $1
to
million
take it.
winners.
$1 million, yeah. And I'm just like,
Pisses
what?
me off.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I got it. I didn't get
Yeah.
no money.
Of course.
At
You could enter.
Yeah. At this point, they can't hold you down and jab your arm yet.
Yeah.
That's coming. But they can't do that right now, so the goal is to make your life as inconvenient and miserable
Well, it's a
as they
peer
can,
pressure.
so that you will get it.
I mean, how often
If
were
I
we
can't
taught?
fly, I
Yeah.
can't bank, I can't go to the store, I can't go see a movie. If I can't go to work, even, I mean, I had to get an exemption from work just to be able to keep my freaking job because I don't want a vaccine. If that's what life is like, then they know some people will be forced to get it. Some
Yeah.
people will cave in and they will get it.
Well, that's their goal. Yeah, is to make life as difficult as
Yes.
possible for you until you do what they want.
Yeah.
And
And,
that-
it starts with a vaccine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And people-
it moves on to other things.
And that's what scares me
Agreed.
is because, I mean, like I said, I got the vaccine. I'm not against the vaccine, but I am against what they're doing as far as forcing people to get it, because I do think that's unconstitutional. It's against people's rights. And that's where, like you said, it's where it starts. People are like, oh, you're being drastic, or you're just being this doomsayer.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you say that, but,
Yeah.
you're willing to give up some freedoms for this now, and then later on down the road when something happens, you're willing to give up a little bit more
and
freedoms.
This is what I love the most.
And that's what happens with every country that falls to dictatorship or loses, is that
Tyranny.
It's a slow fade.
you slowly give up. They lure you in. They ensure you'll be safe if you just give up these freedoms and let the government take care of you. And people slowly do it. They trust, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. And then soon enough, you have no freedoms. Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, one thing that I love about all of these, the people who will argue against what we're talking about is they'll say, for one, they'll throw out all the arguments
well, they make
you just
sound
threw
like
out.
you're paranoid.
Well,
or
no,
you're being,
they actually
conspiracy theorists.
But they want to point the finger at you and say that you don't have a right to hurt me. Here's the thing. If you're in the boat that has gotten vaccinated and you believe by the almighty vaccine that you are safe, then you are not at risk.
Right.
Those who have taken the opportunity to say, no, I do not want the vaccine, they know the risk. They are willing to incur that risk. We are not forcing them to do anything. It's very odd how we have a certain huge group of people in this country who have dedicated the slogan, my body, my choice, are now completely silent and completely switched on it because they think that you don't have the right to spread this to somebody else.
They're not switched on it.
No,
they
here's
can't
the thing. Well, then you don't believe the vaccine works if that's what your argument is.
They don't understand the irony of that because, see, now they see us say, like, they see the other side saying, like, oh, well, you're my body, my choice about vaccines. How come you're not
about
abortion? It's like, that's the point, is that it's your slogan and we're using it because you are the ones that say that. But they can't correlate the two.
My point is that's just like me and Brandon talked about earlier. That's not your body. That's another body inside your body.
But they don't see it that way. And then when you try to point that out, they're like, no, you're wrong. It's like, no, but see, my belief is that is a living person.
And my argument against that, as well as so much on this issue, is let's follow the science.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but at every single turn when you follow the science dictates that you should not be afraid as much as people are about the Delta variant and as much of there is hysteria. Yes, a majority of the overflow in the hospitals right now are from those who are unvaccinated. But again, those people took upon them that choice. And even then, there's no guarantee that if you get vaccinated, you won't have adverse effects to either the vaccine or the virus itself or whatever variant comes next. But again, every choice around the corner should be made with the willingness of the individual.
Yes.
The individual should be at the heart and the decision of that matter. And if they are not, then I'm sorry, it is absolutely peer pressure, and it is those who are dictating a certain response from you and eliciting that response by making you do something that is against your will.
Yep.
And I think that is absolutely terrible.
It's evil.
Absolutely it is evil. And it is not what we are afforded as the rights in this country and under the Constitution. And we should absolutely hold people's feet to the fire who are treading that water. And so, no, I'm not opposed to those. I've got the vaccine myself, and I'm absolutely not opposed to those who don't want to get it. But I think it is absolutely appalling that we have so much peer pressure coming from not only government agencies, but especially from corporate agencies, because we have had so much of a turn in this country going into corporate America over the last 20, 30 years. So much of our power has been stripped away from us willingly because we gave it away to these corporations that now are 10,000, 100,000 people large that are making these choices for us and pushing these down on us. You don't want to give up your salary. You don't want to give up feeding your family and your children. You must comply. And the moment that we allow that kind of mentality to supersede our morals and our values at the individual level, I think we're already doomed.
Yep.
And I think handle the truth.
Damn right.
Amen.
Damn right. And sadly, I think that is ultimately what this paints as a bigger picture. So yeah, the entertainment industry may be hailing this as a great success, and who knows what we'll see in the weeks to come as to what they mandate. But ultimately, I think it's kind of sad that they're hoping for just their bottom dollar to get better.
I will point out that the article that you shared about the theaters, about the theaters possibly mandating the vaccine, they did mention in that article that this would primarily be in places like San Diego, L.A.,
bigger
and New
cities.
York.
The most infected places.
But like we saw with AMC, the mask mandates and things like that were across the board. We thought they would just be in those.
Well, they are now.
I was say they are now because they were going by CDC and local guidance, and they said regardless of local, if this is what the CDC says, we're mandating it.
Yeah.
And again, as idiotic as it was, because that was my point of contention 3 months ago.
Yeah,
I remember talking about it on the show about how I was probably going to boycott going to the theater,
because the CDC
and they just
said
happened to
if you're
lift the
vaccinated,
mask
you don't have
mandate.
a mask, and AMC was like, well, local still says you have to have one. So.
Right. And I'm sorry,
and they still
but
go by that.
I will say
their
that
website does say they still go by whatever local guidelines.
and
are,
I think they're
so-
doing that to protect themselves ultimately
Yeah.
because they know that they don't. Again, they're a business, and at the end of the day, they're feeling the peer pressure because ultimately, I think across the board culturally, you have that peer pressure. But ultimately, I do think businesses are amoral. They want as much money and as much business as possible. As long as they're in the black, they're happy. And so we're going to see what happens regardless, of what is to come with the FDA approving this. And we'll see if those, boons to the stock market for entertainment industry is going to stay or, and the other thing the theater owners did say, and they mentioned, were the very fact that they think they're going to take a hit. They actually think they're going to be people who do not get the vaccine, refuse to get it, and if they institute a vaccine mandate policy or proof of vaccine mandate policy, that they may actually see some hurt.
I think
but they
will.
believe that hurt will go away over a few months, and I'm like, we'll see. We'll see.
I don't think it'll help their numbers any because I see all the time there's people who have been vaccinated that won't leave their house until everybody else has been vaccinated. I've seen so many people complain about some of the movies that are theatrical only, saying, why should those be theatrical only? You need to put things on streaming because some of us are still afraid to go out because I'm not going to a theater where someone might be unvaccinated and give me COVID. And I'm like, well, if you have the vaccine, why are you scared?
Right.
But it's funny. So I think the ones that are dead set on not going until everyone's vaccinated are not going to go, whether you have it. So,
right. And we've talked about this before the show too, but Sean and I had brought up your chances of getting getting COVID in general before were still a very small number, and even
now it's
even smaller with the vaccine, but it's even smaller number that you would be hospitalized.
Yep.
So the fact is again, it's like anything in life. You take a measured risk. And walking out of your door every single day, you have a greater chance of probably being hit by a meteorite than if you're a vaccinated person and you're probably going to die of COVID.
Those who live
There's a small, slim chance
Yeah.
of that.
Those who choose to live in fear are always going to do so. So why kowtow to those people when it's like they're not going to change? I mean,
anytime a law or a mandate has been pressured to fit the bill of the minority as opposed to the majority, it's never worked out well, and it's not good. So again, let's roll that back. Let's roll that kind of line of thinking back, and let's give people their freedoms, freedom to choose.
Just a quick little fact. The FDA, as part of their approval process for approving a vaccine for full use, it plainly says under their own statutes that the FDA has an obligation to ensure that recipients of the vaccine under the EUA are informed that they have the option to accept or refuse any FDA-approved vaccine. They shall not be mandated. This is the FDA's own words about this is part of their approval process. So it's federal law that they cannot mandate an FDA-approved vaccine, whether it's been approved or emergency use.
Well, the FDA may not have
I'm
jurisdiction, but the U.S. government does.
It's 21 USC 360 BBB3, whatever the federal statute is. So it's a federal law, but it's based off of an FDA approval. So part of their approval process is that it cannot be forced upon an individual. So even the FDA says if we approve this vaccine, it has to be up to the individual for them to take it or not.
Well, we hope that the state and local governments and even the federal government follow that.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you, again, we talked about lawsuits with ScarJo. We'll just stack up the courts, I guess, with people who litigate it. We'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll see how this turns out in the future to come. Again, there's no huge swath of vaccine mandates. There's actually a bunch of small businesses.
Not government. I mean, yeah,
businesses
these are businesses.
I would say businesses are suing Mayor de Blasio in New York specifically for mandating the vaccine or proof of vaccine.
But a lot of the businesses feel empowered to mandate them because the FDA has finally approved it.
Right.
And they think that gets them out of any legal trouble. Future legal trouble.
Not necessarily, right?
But, I mean, this would never see a federal court, so it's not like.
I was gonna say, we don't know, depending on the case.
Yeah,
you can never count it out. Alrighty, guys, let's move on to our final headline real quick. I just want to mention it because, again, all bleak topics tonight. This is actually a little small, glimmer of hope in a
for these
terrible,
I mean,
terrible
yeah.
situation. Just an Afghan filmmaker was trapped under Taliban control, like so many other thousands of Americans that are in Afghanistan since we pulled out last month, and the Taliban has taken over in, gosh sakes, the shortest time in history of any takeover from the greatest power in the in the known world. But it's sad to say
there's no
that
power when we're not there.
True. Well, when we forfeit.
Yeah.
and that's the sad thing is there's so many thousands of people trapped. We just brought this one up specifically because it is we're a podcast about films and movies.
Sure.
So this is an Afghan filmmaker that made it out with her family.
Shahabanu Sadat.
That was actually really good.
Shahabranu Sadat.
That was
I
a
think
good pronunciation there.
Yeah.
That was awesome. But no, we just wanted to bring up that story because again, just like her and her family, there are many more people who actually were there embedded with the military that were, helping our military with translation and helping our military with reconnaissance and with information. And so many of those people are trapped right now in Afghanistan. And it's just sad because we really don't have the support of the federal government to actually rescue these people and have had the foresight to plan the things that should have been planned long before we ever made the decision to pull out at the time that we did.
Yep.
It's horribly botched. It's a horrible situation. It's so chaotic right now, and it's sad to see what is going on in the world.
Lots of innocent lives affected, in danger, murdered. I mean, it
Oh,
is.
no,
It's
no,
sad.
no. Nobody's been harmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knock on
Nobody's
wood.
been hurt. Knock on wood, like our president does.
Yeah. I mean, we see.
Cross your fingers.
We've
Was
seen
it the resolute
actual-
desk that he knocked on, or was it a podium?
No, it was.
It was
in
a
the,
little. It
I'll
was
say
a
that would
coffee
have been
table.
great if it would
It
have
was
been
in
the
the interview
resolute
with
it was just a little
George
coffee
Stephanopoulos. I
Yes,
think.
it was the Stephanopoulos. It was a little coffee table.
It was part of the
Oh, my
interview
God.
that they cut out of the actual tape.
Oh, of course.
Because and again, I understand they do cut interviews.
Oh,
Yeah,
they probably have to
length
cut
a lot.
90% of his interviews.
Yeah.
But again, they cut out stuff too that literally were him jabbering for about 2 minutes that
Saying
made
nothing.
no sense.
No.
Jibber jabber.
And if you read the
I
transcript,
mean,
it's
nobody's
it's
been
pretty
hurt, but
embarrassing.
we've seen footage of soldiers passing, like of people passing babies and children to soldiers
Yes.
over barbed wire fences.
Yep.
We've
Yep.
seen people falling off of the landing gear of planes because they were holding on, trying to escape the country. I mean, these people have fallen to their deaths, but nobody's being hurt. So
No.
Yeah, and we
No.
have independent
Well, he would say that
contractors.
Americans
me
aren't
off.
being hurt, but I mean, there have been Americans killed already.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Every
Christians,
day,
Americans.
every day there's at
Yeah.
least a statistic of
Yeah.
2 or 3
they had
people
video
that are
of a
reported,
woman being beaten
just
in the
reported.
street because she didn't have a hijab on, so they beat her in the street.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's again, this is what tyrannical regimes and terrorist regimes do to innocent people, to innocent lives. And regardless of your stance on whether or not we should have been in Afghanistan for as long as we did, or even originally, at the end of the day, we
Well,
were
I see
there. We
people
had
We
try-
a
were.
duty
That's
and
the
a
thing.
job.
I didn't agree with it at the time, but I'm saying after 20 years of being there, and now we have nothing to show for
Yeah,
it.
you just
What
you
about
yanked
the
out
people?
all
What about the
people
men
that
and
gave
women
their
that were there
lives.
for 20 years?
Yep.
And then you just give it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
My
And that's
God.
how a lot of them
Well,
are feeling.
you could say what you 'cause I
Betrayed and
know
abandoned.
I've seen plenty of people try to use the excuse Biden gave. It's like, well, they won't fight for themselves. Why should we be there? It's like, yeah, so it's just better to just give it up and spend 20 years people
Well, I was
dying.
going to say 20 years
Yeah.
compared to 275 years.
And even the statistics he
of
gave
a reign.
about them not fighting for themselves were fabricated. The numbers he included weren't just their military. He included police. He included security. They did not have the same numbers of an
No, he
army.
was like talking about 200,000 or 300,000
Yes,
people. It's like,
and,
no, they
and their
didn't.
military is not that big.
No.
That's why we were there. So he tried to make it sound like they were more capable of defending themselves than they really are. Just
well,
to make,
and not to
make
mention
his
that
decision
the
sound
way in
better.
which the troops, our U.S. troops, had trained them to basically act as the same way as the U.S. military in those situations. But the thing is we have ground troops that are aided by air and sea and
Yeah.
land, land support. So you're sitting here and it's like you withdraw all of that support. You withdraw the people who can work on the planes.
Yeah.
You withdraw the independent contractors to even go in and work with them. You withdraw everybody who has a fighting chance of giving this military the ability to fight against the Taliban, who are barbaric, who do not care about how in which they seize control. They will not follow rules. I think it's odd and
less than a month.
well, it's hysterically
now
sad
oh,
to
yeah.
see how we are trying to treat them as a legitimate government, and it's like you're arguing with the 2-year-old. You don't reason with the 2-year-old.
Well, they have to really look at how they'll be perceived on the world stage.
Yeah.
Yes.
The argument that
Stern
you just
words.
used is that's racist today.
Oh,
Just what you just said. You're just you're belittling an entire
Just the Taliban. I don't think all of
People
those
group.
people.
no.
We're not belittling the whole
No,
entire
I'm just saying.
Middle East,
And,
but
and,
the Taliban,
and you
yeah.
said we had land, air, and sea support. Now they do. They have our planes.
Yep.
They have our helicopters.
Well,
they
the
have our,
Taliban does.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, exactly.
They have our
We just left
Yeah,
it
they have
high and dry.
our
Basically-
Humvees. They have our guns.
Not only did we abandon those people and that military, but we gave their enemies
Trillions
trillions of dollars worth of weapons.
taxpayer dollars. Yeah.
I think it was like
Equipment,
estimated
technology.
to be 500 billion.
It was a 500 billion.
500
Okay.
billion.
computers with
Jesus.
hard drives with
Just a
all
little
of-
bit
with our
less.
with our
Yeah.
intel on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing compared to the
insane.
next COVID relief bill.
Yeah.
Nothing compared to that.
Yeah, wait till that one comes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But yeah.
Well, and the bill that we just passed for the infrastructure bill, well, the trillions of dollars that's going to Afghanistan to
Yeah.
build roads and bridges.
Well,
Yeah.
just think
We're
about
just
how
gonna finish it for 'em.
How
Yeah.
how much damage did the Taliban do using weapons from the 1980s that they got from Russia
Oh, yeah.
and China, like
They have- they
AK-47s?
literally-
Now they have sophisticated American military weapons.
They have biometric
They have drones,
weapons.
guided missiles,
yes. Yeah.
Humvees. I mean, think of what they're
Stuff
going
they
to do
could
with
never
that.
build on their own. Yeah.
Again, it's
They've got those Stark Industry rockets now. So I mean,
well, and
Well,
again,
we're talking about people that live in caves and they stole planes and flew them into our buildings. What are they going to do now?
yeah. Oh, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Again,
They're gonna
the
eat our
problem.
lunch.
The problem with evil is evil will take every opportunity it gets.
mhm.
And when again, any time that we have left and created a vacuum, and I think this is the huge misconception with people who want to say that it was an endless war. It was not a war of any kind. We had 2,500 troops in there before we pulled them out.
Yeah.
We were keeping the
It was a
region
stalemate.
stable.
yeah.
Everything was going just fine, and we have more troops than that in so many other places around the world where we just hold up office, where we just hold up to keep things stable. We have more soldiers than that in South Korea just to make sure that North Korea isn't going to do something crazy.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is you had this ongoing tale of this being some endless war, and I think we're seeing
Well,
it
they
now.
called it nation building too.
N-
It wasn't
ex- it
nation
wasn't
building.
nation
We were
building.
helping them maintain their own nation.
Exactly.
We were protecting it.
And you can't sit here and tell me that a nation that was 20 years old couldn't withstand that of barbarians from the 6th or 7th century. Of course not. It took the years and the many generations to create the wonderful country that we have here in America, and we're only just about to hit 300 years old in the next few years. And it's like you're telling me that we expect these people who have been so rooted in chaos and in war of their own people for so long that they're suddenly going to just magically get rid of that in 20 years without any support? You're insane.
Yeah.
And you're creating a vacuum where those powers, those evil powers, are going to come in and support that kind of regime change because they know that it helps their cause, and that cause is to, again, destroy those who have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness here in America. And it's sad that we are seeing that happen before our eyes in such a short amount of time. And I really hope it's eye-opening because you do have people like this Afghan filmmaker who are hopefully going to be able to make it out alive, but a lot of them won't. A lot of them will be left there to die. And it will be because of our incompetent, foolish president. And it is sad because of that.
Wow.
Alrighty, guys. I think we're done with the doom and the gloom.
Yeah.
Brandon
Gosh.
went full
I had to.
hog.
I just had to get on my soapbox. Sorry. Had to.
I don't even know what
You
to
don't
push
even
for
know what
that.
to push?
He's
Yeah.
just like, I got to think about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't even think about it. He
doesn't
just
know.
pushes it.
There it is.
Yeah,
Not tonight. Not
All
tonight.
right.
We're just getting it all out. But we got a happy-go-lucky story time segment. So
Let's
do we?
Let's get into
What
that.
is it?
It's story time, where the podcast members tell their stories.
I love it. It's just like
Story
our
time.
incompetent idiot president. Doom, 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 doom. It's story time.
That's right.
It's like amazing. That was just.
we had to
We had to lighten it up.
we had to. We
That
just had
did
to
it.
throw it out there.
That did it.
Well, it's because he doesn't even deserve to wear aviators. not like mine.
Well,
I'm the rightful
yeah, he
wearer
needs to take those
of
off.
some
He
aviators.
just
Yeah.
takes
okay?
his aviators off.
That's
Come
right,
on,
that's
man.
Right. That's
Come
right.
on, man.
All right, let's get into a fun, happy topic for the end of the show. Let's get rid of all the doom and gloom, and let's talk
Or
about
corn pop wore glasses.
corn
like that.
pop. Ain't got nothing on my aviators.
What
Come
is-
on at me. What are you looking forward to?
Nothing.
Something
Would
you're
you just
looking
hear all
forward
the
to.
articles we went over? The world.
Yeah, the second coming of Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
that's
is what I'm
it.
looking
That's,
forward to.
that's all we have left.
That's not bad. That's a good thing to look forward
Yeah.
to.
Edie's holding my hand right
We're
now.
3.5 years
I
away.
wish we could show it on camera.
She put her. Well, she's not doing it now. She put her paw up on my hand. It was rather
Aw.
sweet.
She was she's like
She
my
was
condolences.
trying to do it to Sean,
when
but
she's
there
not
it goes.
when she's not a little terror.
There she is. She's holding my hand right now.
Said, I'm sorry about
Oh,
your pat ball.
oh, well, there's the little paw in the
Oh,
shot.
my God.
Just some love.
She just yeah.
I just love
Look at that.
You just gotta love that.
That's
so
that's what I look
sweet.
forward to now is holding
now she's
Edie's
come over
hand.
here.
Oh.
Relationships?
Oh, well, we have talked about dogs on the relationship.
I'm
segment.
looking
Pets.
forward to the next several days.
I am too.
Well,
Well,
thanks, Sean.
I'm sorry.
tomorrow
Not
is my
tomorrow included,
is my
no.
grandfather's funeral.
I'm
so
sorry. I'm
Oh,
looking forward to every day
Edie,
after
Edie
tomorrow.
felt your pain.
Edie's
Aw,
being
she
very
wants a hug.
compassionate tonight.
Oh,
she
wow.
knows. Dogs
Edie-
know.
Wow.
Edie felt the she's trying to be there for you.
She knows.
All right, Edie, down.
No,
Now
we got to finish
come
the
here.
show.
Come on, knock her down.
No, I am
It's fine.
obviously not so much tomorrow.
Sure. You
But
know what I
yeah,
meant.
after tomorrow, our annual lake trip, which we were actually going to go on tomorrow morning, but has now been pushed back a day for obvious reasons.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow just
But-
because I get to be there for you, and
Well,
Brandon
you
gets
know.
to be there for
Yeah.
you, and that's
Yeah.
we're both looking forward to being there for you.
I mean,
tomorrow.
it's a sad, somber time, but I will
It
say
is.
I'm glad that I'm glad I have the time off to be there
no
for
joke.
you and the
It's-
family, but
it's
also just
one of those things
a celebration
where-
of life.
Yeah. We look forward to the lake every year, obviously, and it's one of those things for me that obviously tomorrow is going to be a bittersweet moment, and it's not like I'm just wanting to rush out and leave my family and go to the lake, and I'm obviously going to be there for my family however they need me, but I do look forward to going to the lake as well, just because with all the stress and everything going on, it's going to be nice to be able to just get away from
It's an
everything.
escape, yeah.
So. Especially just work too. I mean, all the things we just talked about on the show. It's like there's no internet, no news down at the lake. It really is just kind of going to be a nice 4 days of escaping. Reminiscence. Yeah.
I'm just gonna escape
but the
from
difference
reality.
is-
4 out of 4 stars for that one.
But that's the difference is we're not escaping reality. I mean, yeah, we're escaping the news cycle, but we are actually going to go
create
down with
new memories.
companionship, camaraderie. Wow, I can't talk.
Camaraderie, yeah.
Camaraderie. Yeah.
There you go.
misogynistic.
A bunch of white, privileged, conservative Christian men just
Oh yeah, smoking
living it up.
cigars and floating on rafts.
That's
yeah,
it. You
yeah,
can't beat it,
so-
man. That's life.
Smoking and floating.
That was the most
That
G
is
thing
good.
I think you with them
Smoking and
glasses on.
floating.
Smoking and
Yeah,
floating.
heck yeah.
That video Sean has of me, all I do is win.
That's why we're wearing our stunner shades right now.
Yeah.
We're wearing our sunglasses because we're getting ready to be out on that boat.
I'm glad that whatever bout of ill me and Brandon had was short-lived too, because I'm
Yes.
glad, I want to be able to enjoy the lake and not be. There was that one year in September I was sick. That's
by
I
far
laid
been
on
the
boat,
worst
like,
year.
the
Yeah.
whole year, yeah.
That
so-
was
I've been
because it
sick
was
down there
super
once.
cold.
Yeah,
With,
I
like,
do remember
allergy
Sean had
problems,
allergies the
like,
one year,
big
yeah.
time.
I have been too, but for different reasons. I don't want to mention. But
So,
no,
You talking about that genital herpes you had?
yeah.
Genital herpes.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we
that
cleared
was a
that
bad
up.
trip.
He had-
we all
he had
got
the,
that.
yeah.
We all
Yeah.
got that week.
But no,
He had the HIV.
that September trip was definitely. It was the
That
coldest,
was a bad
and
one.
it was not.
But
Was it cold?
yeah, it was the
We
year
couldn't
went
even
September.
swim.
It wasn't cold, but it was like 60s, where like
Really?
it wasn't fun to be in the water and stuff. Yeah,
But it's like
I
don't
remember
think,
it.
yeah, we
And then
didn't
I
even
got
swim.
sick, and I wore that hoodie on the boat the whole time. And
Yeah,
you all got in the water a little bit because I remember being on the
I don't think
on
there's
the
ever
boat.
been a time that I didn't get in the water.
Yeah,
True.
Because I remember being on
we
the
took
boat.
a
like,
little
you-
bit of a
water
dip,
that
but
You,
it was
y'all were
long.
in the water, yeah.
Yeah.
But
no,
it's supposed to be really hot this week, so
I'm looking forward to.
Not too bad.
I think that
so.
was the reason I did bring this up was because I know we are getting ready for the lake, and it's
We'll
the one
watch
thing we look
stupid
forward
movies
to.
at night and
Yeah.
spend the whole night on the water. We already have. It's kind of funny. I feel like we're a little bit more prepared this year than maybe because of the job I have. I don't have to like I was actually know for sure it's gonna be off, but we already have our propane canisters.
Woohoo!
Brandon has them in the shed.
I've got them.
We have
I
a
just
bunch
can't
of those.
forget them. That's the problem.
I
can't forget 'em.
remember. Well,
Okay, good.
So we have the grill's already down there. It
Remind
works
me, I'll
'cause
give them to you tonight.
I started it up when me and Brandon and everybody, when we were first going to get the boat in the water and it crapped out on us. Like I took it out, started it up because we were going to cook lunch on the boat that day. But
Oh, you're talking about the one that I gave?
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's still working.
I didn't know it still worked.
I got it going like both sides because I remember the one year.
I have
the one
propane.
side
I have those propane cans too.
Yeah, that's what he has.
Oh, okay.
I've got
Well,
like
we don't
6 of
we don't
them.
need
Okay.
a giant propane tank anymore because now we have the electric stove in the
in the house.
in the trailer. So yeah, so I mean we're pretty good to go. We just have to make it there,
But I was gonna say,
not die.
and we don't. It doesn't have to be just what we're looking forward to. Just for the lake. It's like just in general. I am looking forward to just good health down the road and also holidays
health,
with the fam. and,
good. Well, that's one
know.
thing I actually am this year. Last year, with the job I have, having holidays off was really nice. So I'm definitely looking forward to that again this year, knowing that Labor Day I'll be off, Thanksgiving and Black Friday we have off, half a
Christmas
day
and New
Christmas
Year's.
Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve.
Is this your
Plus,
first Christmas working there?
no, I worked there last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I've been there a full year now.
Yeah, I forgot.
August. So, so it's nice knowing that I'm going to have those days off. Plus, I still have plenty of PTO because that's something like I had PTO at Bob Evans and other jobs, but nowhere near as much.
and you didn't get to use it all the time because
I'm
you were
hoping-
bothered by
Yeah.
other pesky.
I don't know how it'll go this year. I'm hoping that me and Dad will get to have, like, especially knowing I still have plenty of PTO, I could take some days off to go hunting this year because that was something that I did maybe once or twice at Bob Evans because I could rarely actually use the time to go. It'll be a little bit different this year knowing that my grandfather's now passed, being
Yeah.
down there on his farm hunting. But so I mean, it'll be interesting, and I do look forward to those events, to being able to spend holidays with you all, to knowing Sean's moved closer. We have like a Lord of the Rings night planned one weekend in October.
yes. Oh, that is coming.
Even
up.
holiday stuff, like it'll be nice knowing that, obviously I want to spend time with my family, but even if since we all have a little bit more free time now,
dude, fall fishing.
if we were able to,
I'm looking to fall
fall
fishing
or fall camp,
man.
like if we
Oh,
could go on
yeah.
like a camping
Oh, yeah,
trip,
we're definitely doing a
we need to
camping
we need to
trip.
go camping for sure.
That would be. Yeah, we
Um,
still haven't done that. We've talked about it for like the last 2 years.
But we actually can now.
Yeah.
So I would love, to maybe try to go camping, just do whatever, I'm looking forward to having freedom in a life and, vaccines and mask mandates be damned. I'm going to go live my life.
Damn right.
I
Me too.
mean,
Well, in certain parts of the country, freedom's still available.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's
So,
not being tampered with.
yeah.
Sean, what about you? Anything specific other than the lake?
Definitely the lake. I don't know. I'm looking forward to September. My mom's gonna come and visit for a little
Nice.
while.
She just can't help herself
so-
tonight. I don't know why.
There's that, and
Oh, there we go.
just I am kind of looking forward to our first holiday season in the new house. And
Yeah,
all of that.
that'll be fun.
There's just kind of little things like that. Like my wife told me the other day we have to get a second Christmas tree,
nice.
What?
which I'm like,
I have more than one.
I was gonna say, but is this for the basement?
we have to have one upstairs, but then she wants the one in the basement to be the present tree.
Oh, so you all
so
have
that
your-
way the kids can't get up and come downstairs and see the presents under the tree without
I
us.
gotcha.
So we have to keep that in the basement, but
Yeah.
then we have to have one upstairs too.
Actually,
So
I'm
just
not
like,
gonna
this
lie.
is-
That's one thing I'm very excited. I bought a tree last year for my basement that I didn't like after Christmas was over because everything was on sale at Menards. It was wonderful. I love holidays and decorating, so
Get you in the spirit.
Menards had everything on sale, so I bought a bunch of stuff.
Save my money at
Um,
Menards. Isn't that it?
so,
big money.
yeah.
Save
Say
big money.
So like I used to have just that little tree in the basement, but now I actually have like a large pencil tree like in the basement. Plus,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still
Did you
have-
not have that last year? Didn't you?
no, I don't have a large. It's a
Huh.
tall pencil tree that I'll
Oh.
have stuff on, and then I'll still. put up the little tree somewhere with different decorations. But
That's all I
I am
see.
looking forward
But
to
I
it.
love
I'm
when
not
my
big into decorating, but this neighborhood that we live in now apparently is.
Oh, I
So
would
they've
love
already
that.
started posting stuff on Facebook or like neighborhood
yeah.
Facebook page
Yeah.
about, hey, who's gonna decorate their door for Halloween and do this stuff, and I'm
Nice.
like, oh god.
Yep.
Oh, see, I would love
so
that.
yeah,
Oh, one other thing I'm looking forward to, and this is going to sound cheesy, and I know y'all are going to rip me for it. We talked about it a little bit on last week's show
Yeah.
because I was sick this past week. I didn't really get to enjoy it too much, but I'm looking forward to just riding my bike,
Yeah.
getting into
We all
some
three
fitness.
have. We were talking
Yeah.
about that. We all have bikes now. We can all, we can make a
we-
bike gang.
There we go.
we could go to Bernheim one day and ride.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Ride the trails.
Ride the loop.
But I just love the fact that I can like get out. I'm looking forward. I intentionally wanted to buy it before I went to the lake, knowing of the week of just gluttonous behavior we were going to have.
Oh, it's terrible.
So that I can come back and be like,
We
okay,
get
now.
exercise going up and down the hill to the
Yeah,
True.
yeah, true.
to the.
And I am.
That's
Y'all
all
got to
the
hold me
exercise I
to
want down
this
there.
this year. Y'all got to hold me to this. Okay?
I'm not holding you to
I
it.
need y'all's promise
Oh,
that I have already closed. I've gotten
He
my
wants to
longest
still
move
close
streak.
his
I've got
move rings.
Yeah, I've got to close all my rings.
Dude, you may not even have to
I
go
have
for a
to.
walk every night.
How?
Like going up and down that hill.
Well,
promise
and
you,
here's
man,
the
I
problem.
closed mine just doing that when I was at the
I
lake.
can't get in the water with it though because it has a
You
crack on the
practice,
screen.
yeah.
Oh,
So I have to make sure that I get those rings closed.
So you definitely close it in the water. but-
Exactly.
Yeah.
But not. I have to do the walking in the morning. I got to do my.
I have a
30-minute
feeling going up and
exercise.
down that hill will give you a lot of it.
It probably will, and
And
it
it-
probably takes 15 minutes to go up and down it.
Based on the mornings that we have there, you ain't gonna go no 30
I
minutes.
I have to because here's my goal.
Do it at night.
I've already closed. I've been 81 days straight
Mhm.
of closing all my rings, and I'm trying to make it a full year. So I cannot miss a day. So I'm trying to close all 3 rings for a full 365. Got to
Nice.
do it. Got to do it. Y'all got to help me. Y'all got to help me
Yeah,
out.
You're on your own.
Motivate
man.
me. When we wake
I
up
mean,
and I don't feel like it,
I
just
send
motivate
I
me.
send you those replies sometimes.
I
like,
love it.
man, you're burning the souls out of those shoes.
That's right. You're
Yeah.
you're helping me.
Good job. Thumbs up. Like all those things.
And I just got to get through the few days at the lake that we're there, close them then, and then I'll be good to go.
Yeah.
And then I'm back on the fitness track.
Well, this is what we'll do. So you get them closed. All the stuff that we hate having to lug back and forth, you're just gonna keep going up and down the hill, lugging it back for us, and then when you get it
Yeah.
all down there, we'll all go.
It's like, oh, Brandon, we left the propane. I'll go get it.
Oh no!
you gotta
I
close
gotta
your
get the propane.
You gotta close your move ring.
Forgot
Go
the life
go
jackets.
get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
not,
I'll get
not
it.
happening.
You're the one that needs to close your move ring. You gotta do it somehow.
I'll do that before we go down to the boat.
We all need to.
You all.
He's
yeah.
the one that just wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I want to for just bragging rights.
Dang, it's 10:30.
I know.
Almost.
Oh man, we do got to wrap it up. We got to go. We got to get ready for this lake
I
trip.
mean, we're done. We've already everything.
Discussed everything.
You know,
We ended the show on a high note without doom and gloom. I think we did our job.
I'm looking forward to you all and the lake and all of the practical things we do down there.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to 2024 is what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, we'll end it on that. Here is the. That's our show for this evening. I don't even know how to springboard off of it.
Yep.
As always, you can email us. It's right there at the bottom of the screen. rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com. Can you believe it? It's already the end
No,
of
I
the show.
can't.
What? You can't believe it? I don't know why
Yeah,
not.
I can.
It's right there
Let's
at the
get
bottom of
outta
the
here.
show.
Yeah.
I know. We're ready
We got
to
a
get to
lot
the
of
lake,
we
aren't
got a lot of stuff going on the
Got
next
that
couple
foreigner,
days.
that
We do.
foreigner playing in here.
Oh, foreigner?
Got some foreigner.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's getting, look
Got
at
the
him.
doors going now.
Him and
Show
those
me the money. Show me the money.
fits those glasses perfectly, just beautifully. rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com. And as always, right there at the bottom of your screen, Red Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet, Red Moon Pics, and search for Red Moon Productions on YouTube. Follow us on all of our social, like, share, subscribe. We'd love to hear back from you from our email or just comment on any one of
Give
those
us some
threads.
information.
Just give us some love.
give us
guys.
the skinny dinny. Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the show. Thank you all for joining us every Tuesday night live here on Facebook and YouTube at 9 p.m. We love you guys. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host.
Sean Sebastian.
And that it?
That's it.
That's all you're doing?
We hope hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.